live here with my new friend Roy. How are you, sir?
Not bad yourself.
I am doing all right. He's going for the top background award here now. He's got some cool cars in the background. I'm sure we'll get into that in a second here. Awesome, and I don't. He put on the heater because the Irish Mini episode. If you saw that one, I don't think he had a heater because his breath was visible in his garage.
Yeah.
So you're over in Canada, correct?
Yeah. New
Like
Brunswick.
the East New Brunswick. That's
East
like the
Coast.
far east side, isn't it?
Yep. We neighbor Maine.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
So
So
it's very winterish here.
yeah, much more winter than Southern California here. It's maybe going to be a chilly 60 today, perhaps. I don't know. It looks nice out though. That's
That's nice.
Fahrenheit, 60 Fahrenheit. So I don't know the conversion is.
Yeah, me neither. Probably like 15, 20.
Who cares anymore at this point? I've talked to a
Yep.
couple U.S. people, and most of everyone else is probably going to be international and meters, millimeters, Fahrenheit, Celsius. Who cares? I think United States does it backwards, personally, but that's what I learned. So Roy, tell me about it, man. You have a pretty cool Mini. We've been chatting on social media. How did you get into minis? What was your first experience with a Mini? What attracted you to them?
Well, my dad had them all my life. We came to Canada late 81. I'm originally from Scotland. And we had minis growing up, and it was our family car here in Canada for a long time. And then I learned to drive standard in a mall parking lot with a Mini, and right then and there I was hooked. So the day he sold that car, I was quite upset because I thought it was going to be my 16, sweet 16 car, I guess you call it there. So,
Right.
but, no, he sold it, and then I had 3 kids through my life there or whatnot. And then I finally, in, was it 2018, finally got a Mini. And it didn't look like that.
Far from it. I was doing a deep dive as I tried to on the Instagram to look at the first pictures of it. Yeah, it didn't look like that, and it didn't run like that, huh?
No, it didn't even run when I bought it. And it was rusty, and it was in rough shape.
So your family was into minis, correct? That's what you were saying?
Yes.
You kind of always
My
had them
dad
in the...
In the family, yeah. My dad actually got his apprenticeship with British Leyland.
Oh, really?
When he was in Scotland.
Oh, wow, that's super cool. So
Yeah.
so he worked on minis then, or?
Yeah, he was, before he joined the Navy, he was a mechanic. And they were souping up minis back in the 70s.
Dang, that's pretty cool. Bet he had some cool
Yeah,
stories,
some
huh?
of the stories, yes, absolutely. And he's still one of my go-to guys when I have questions, because I have lots of them.
I'll ask this later, but we'll get into what he souped up his minis compared to what you did to yours. I think that's kind of cool what they did back in the day versus what people are doing today and how it differs. But I kind of want to get into. So you said you were from Scotland. You guys moved to Canada as a family when you were really young, correct?
Yeah, I was only 22 months old, I guess,
Okay.
when
Yeah,
I
so
came to Canada. So
not quite remember it.
no, I don't remember now.
Was it the same kind of area that you're in currently?
Yeah, we moved to Nova Scotia because Dad was in the Navy.
Okay.
He came over from the UK Navy to the Canadian Navy, and then Nova Scotia, and then I think in '88 we came to New Brunswick here.
Oh, awesome. Now, I don't know. I would assume, Scotland, there was quite a bit of mini action. Like you said, your dad worked for Leyland, et cetera, et cetera. When you guys moved to Canada as growing up, was there a big mini boom for, how long did they sell minis there? I'm not too sure.
I think they stopped selling minis in '82. I could be wrong, don't quote me to that, but it was like in the early '80s they stopped bringing them into here.
Okay.
That
Interesting.
car actually came from Scotland in '08, I think it was.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I'm always interested in what markets had the timeline, because like in the US, I think that it was only like 60, I don't know, I always forget, 60, early 60 to like 67, I think was the last year that they brought actually imported minis here. So it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Our neighbor to the north here had them till the 80s. That's no fair.
Yeah. Like, I have an old trunk lid up on my wall, and it's from St. John, New Brunswick, and it's Bayview, British Leyland, so, and that's just an hour from us. I don't know what year that's from. I think it's probably like a '77 trunk lid, so they were still in about the '70s. They were for sure here. I think it was early '80s they stopped bringing them into Canada.
Okay, so when you were a kid, you guys saw minis and you potentially saw them at a dealership.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That, to me, that's like, wow. And you're like, like you said, you border the United States. Excuse me. And it's like, why? What? Obviously different standards and stuff like that. But dang, like I never saw minis when I was a kid, ever, at all. I mean, I grew up in
Really?
Texas, so it wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember one time as like a kid, other than when I visited Europe with my family, that I saw minis and outside of magazines and obviously Italian Job and things like that. But yeah, that would, as much as that I liked them, man, I bet that would have just built the fire inside me even more.
No, it's just always like a thing. Like, I don't know. It's about small cars, I think, in general. Like, I went through like Civic EG coupes
Hmm.
and hatches and stuff like that, and I just love small cars.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun, quirky, kind of interesting. Not the norm, I guess you could say. Um, so, okay, so you grew up with cars. Your dad worked on them, family kind of cars. You guys owned them, and you learned to drive manual in a Mini, and you were what, 15 or so?
15 at the time.
15 in the mall
Yeah.
parking lot. How was that experience? What were you thinking? Was it like, oh my gosh, I'm
It
driving
was
a Mini, or was it just like,
it
I'm
was
learning to drive a stick?
finally drive finally driving the Mini, and it was, you definitely could tell I was a new person driving, because the car was bouncing. I wasn't giving it enough fuel, and Dad used to say it was like kangaroo foot there, just jumping, and the car was like stopping. Oh, it was a mess. But by the end of it, there, he was a good teacher. Got me driving.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. What kind of Mini was it?
It was '77, just Mini 1000, burgundy in color.
Nice. That's
And
fun.
then
And
when he
you,
sold it, I don't think I talked to him for 2 days.
when did he sell? He sold it like before you were
Uh,
turned 16, or what? It was like right around
yeah,
that time.
yeah, it was right before there. I think it was in the winter, and yeah, I was pretty pissed.
What did your first car turn out to be?
1981 Honda Civic, Honda Matic, 4-door, 4-seater.
That's not that bad of a first car, I guess. But I
It was
guess
a
when you're
$100 drive.
expecting a Mini, and that's funny.
Yeah. It was, and
So
then
let's.
after that, I went up to like a 300 ZX he brought home one day for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a real treat.
After that moment when he sold it, what were you was your plan like, all right, I'm going to get a mini one day? Or was it kind of like,
Absolutely.
oh, damn, you were pissed for a little bit and then kind of forgot about it until your current mini kind of popped up?
No, no, it was always my plan to get a mini. It was just always out of reach. Like I said, I have three kids, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like family had to make that go, and I was in others, and there's not a lot of minis around here, right? So it was either go to Ontario, where there seems to be more, in Montreal, but it was just money. They was just adding until
Mm-hmm.
that one came up.
Mm. Yeah, that was going to be my question was, obviously they sold them for a lot longer than most places. They weren't prevalent, though, in your specific area. So it wasn't like a
No,
dime a dozen like some of the other guys said, oh, yeah, I could just, pick it up on the local Craigslist ad or classifieds or whatever it is.
yeah, no, it was. And the ones that did come up, they were asking big money for them, right? And I didn't have that
Yeah.
money. I definitely didn't have that money.
Yeah, no, similar story. Similar to me. It was like
Yeah,
I always wanted
yeah,
one. It was just like I'd peruse the Mini Mania classifieds. I'm like, that's not like terrible money, but I don't have that money. So that's
yeah.
kind of how I fell into mine. So let's get into how did you get yours then? And it was, would you say
Uh,
in 2000, would you say 2008? Oh, no,
18.
that's when it came in. 18.
Yeah, that's when I bought it.
How'd you
I
find it?
finally got a hold of it. My buddy sent me an ad on Kijiji through, I think it was Facebook, because he
Mm-hmm.
knows I was always looking for one. And I started talking to the guy Monday, and he said he had, I think it was 30 people after it. And then I was just like, oh, well, let me know if none of those pan out there, because I'm still trying to figure out, like, I got to get down there. I got to go get get a car trailer, not my car trailer. I borrowed it from my buddy,
Right.
and I got back to him. I think on Friday morning, he's like, "Listen, this is a project. Everyone that comes sees it thinks they're getting a show car. Blah blah blah." So I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Will you hold it for me till Saturday morning?" And this was at 6 p.m. And he's like, "Are you a morning person?" I said, "I can be there at 7 o'clock in the morning." And it was a 2 hour drive. So he said, "Yeah, I'll hold it for you." I said, "Perfect." So the scramble was to get the money. All the banks are closed at 6. So I
Right.
go to a bank machine, pull out. I think my daily limit was like $1,000.
Right.
So I need to come up with 3,500 before I left at 5 o'clock in the morning to be there at like 7:30. So I'm pulling money off credit cards just because I can't get my limit increased or anything like that.
Right.
So I pulled it all off, got this handful of cash, went and got the car hauler. That was in, I think it was 45 minutes away, my buddy lives. Back home, got a couple hours sleep, and I didn't get much sleep. You just imagine you're going to pick up your dream car.
Yeah.
So then I hopped in the car, or the truck that morning, and drove there, got there, and there she was. This rusted out piece of shit.
What color was it at that time?
It was a Subaru WRX Blue.
Oh. So
Someone painted it. It was nice at one time,
at one time, yeah.
but not when I not when I got it. She was pretty bubbly, and the front floor pans both needed to be changed, and it didn't run. And yeah, it was a mess when I first got it.
And it had an A series in it. It was pretty much standard, just it had a restoration at some point that wasn't very
Yeah,
good, I guess.
it yeah, it wasn't. Well, I think it was at the time, but it just like this thing was finicky. Like it had a 1275 out of a Metro in it.
Okay.
So when I got it, like I said, it didn't run. It ended up they were having problems, and the guy I got it from, I still talk to regularly, and he was just happy that I got it and I got it running, and now he sees it and he loves it, of course. But yeah, the distributor was bad, the wiring was bad. They did the harness, they changed the harness, but everything, it wasn't hooked up right and stuff like that, and it was a mess.
And what was it like sitting outside, and that's kind of what got, or just, Canada winters just got to it?
I think it was just between being in Britain and being outside in Canada. I don't think it was outside all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but when I got it, it was out for a little bit because it still had all of its that like moss on it and stuff like that. Like,
So it'd been out for a little bit.
Mildewy. Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it was, what year was this Mini?
It's an 87.
87. Nice. So this was just kind of like, it kind of popped up. You jumped on it. Sounds very similar to what I did too. It was like my dream car, and it just, I always had, ads on and, alerts, and it popped up, and I just, boom, I called immediately. But that's crazy. Yeah, I love that feeling, like you said.
You had a right sketchy situation with yours, wasn't it?
What was that?
Or was that the second one? Like when you got yours was a sketchy, like it was sketchy, wasn't it?
Both of them were kind of sketchy. The first one wasn't necessarily sketchy, but it was like a sketchy ad with no pictures and like 2 lines, and I went to the guy's house and brought my motorcycle, and I asked him, to trade, and he was like, yeah. I was like, is this like for real? Because it was a Honda 250. So I was like, is this guy really gonna trade me a car for? I mean, again, mine was a big project, but
yeah.
I was like, what? Like, I thought it was a scam the whole time. And the second one was sketchy because it was also kind of similar, like not a lot of information. It was in a area that I wouldn't normally go to. Not in a terrible area, but it was just like, and these guys were just sitting out front. Yeah, it was just like, this can't be real. But there's deals out there, man. We seem to find them, and people just, either want to unload for quick cash, or they just don't know what they have. And, who am I to tell them, you should probably charge 10 times what you're charging me.
Yeah, exactly, right?
If it's helping them, it's helping me. So you get it back home, and clearly you're probably super pumped. So what'd you start doing? Did you start ripping it apart and rebuilding it immediately, or would you kind of get it running and drive it for a little bit?
I got it. I got a new distributor, the whole distributor, because I figured that's what was wrong with it. It was a bad pickup or something in the electronic distributor. So I changed that, and I threw a set of wheels on it, exhaust, stage 1 kit, did I go single, or it was double, twin SUs after that, before my first year or whatnot of driving it. And I drove it for a year, and then that was the first stage, and then the next one was to cut the front end off it.
You went down the rabbit hole pretty fast. Yeah, because it was the 1275, and with those little bit of bolt-ons, they're fun, they're rowdy, but I could see that I wouldn't call it getting bored, maybe, but you see other things, you see other projects, you're like, I kind of want that. It's like, I want that.
Yeah, so, and I thought, like, to be honest, I thought it would be faster.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being in the Mini as a kid, and I'm like, man, this thing's crazy fast. And then I'm like, I got into this. Like, the first time I went to the dyno, I think, with the 1275 stock and twin SUs, I think it was 43 horse I hit.
Really?
To the wheels, which is a great number.
Okay, yeah.
You're like 15, 20 through the drivetrain.
Right.
You're going to lose. And
right.
I was like, oh, well, that sucks. I was like, everyone's like, whoa, it made that much. I'm like, yeah, that sucks.
What were you driving at the time that you could maybe compare it to that was maybe fast or I mean obviously modern day cars even freaking I don't know Camrys or your Civic probably accelerates faster than a Mini at 1275 but like what were you kind of
Well,
comparing it to?
like I had a '77 Trans Am SE,
Okay.
like Smokey and the Bandit,
Yeah. Yeah.
with a 400 in it that was punched out. I had a Civic with a huge turbo on it. Like it just
Okay.
wasn't as fast as I thought it was going to be.
Right, right, right. No, I get you. I understand. It's funny because I've always owned minis, and they were the new minis, so they were whatever 150 to 200 horsepower, whatever they are. So it's not like a fast car, but I think for me the first time I drove my mini, I was like I didn't think it was fast, but the first time like my test was I put it all together and I just was like I was super nervous because I was like ah shit like I probably forgot to torque something whatever. I drove it to work which was only maybe 5-10 minutes down the road at the time and I was just on the highway so it was just straight for basically 8 of those minutes but the exit I got off of has this huge sweeper and I knew I could just basically flat foot it and just I'm just gonna turn and see what happens. And I turned and it just stuck to the road, and I was like, that is what this car is all about. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh man, the smile on my face. And ever since then, I was like, man, this is not fast, but it's rowdy when you get those corners in. So I understand what you're saying with the speed thing, but I never like tested it like that, and I never had a car that really like a big turbo or 400 horsepower car, so it like never really hit me. And a lot of these guys say the similar things, so I was curious about that.
Like the handling on these cars is by far probably the best I've ever driven. And I like as a kid I used to well young adult I should say I raced go karts
Oh, okay.
and this is like a go kart. I love it so much. Like I want to. I don't care how fast I can go in a straight line, but I want to hit that corner at like 100k.
Yeah.
So like 60 mile an hour. Like that's where I
No.
want to see it.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's always fun hanging with big boy cars in the twisties, and eventually when you hit the straight, they pass you or whatever. But it's man, it's crazy going into a corner and just not having to brake. Like when there's if I'm behind a
Mm-hmm.
car in the canyons, and I know it's a fast car, but it's just a big heavy car nowadays. And they have to brake. I'm like, it blows my mind. I'm like, how is this possible that I can just I'm just not. I'm like trying to accelerate in this corner, and this, Porsche is braking in front of me. It's crazy. It's fun, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's fun. So all right, wasn't as fast as you thought. 1275 and you said all right let's go down this rabbit hole. Did you have any of this in mind, like thinking like hey I'm going to do XYZ but later on I just want to enjoy it now, or did when you hit that dyno session you saw 45 you were like all right what can we
Wasn't
do?
even 45. 1 second. I just have the dyno sheet here. It was what was it? 43. Yeah, it was 43. So it wasn't even 45.
Dang.
And like then the wheels started turning. I started thinking, and then I think I went one more year with it stock, like not stock, but the way I did it. I changed the wheels, and I'm always changing something that I shouldn't even need to change.
But that's the fun part.
I, yeah, like it used to have chrome trim on the fender flares, and yeah, so I had to make it a little more sportier. So in early 2020 is when I'm like, all right, it's time to start doing something. And I was talking to a guy up in Ontario, and he's like, look at the superchargers, because I either want to go supercharger or turbo,
Mm-hmm.
just because I'm familiar with turbos.
Right.
And I was like, but I like superchargers because they have more like a linear acceleration, right?
Right.
So I started talking to Stuart over in England about supercharger Stuart at VMAX. or whatnot.
Yeah,
And
VMAX cart or however you say it.
yeah, yeah. And well, then the rest is just history. Like, oh, I went with that year. I pulled the engine. I put a 4-pin diff in it. I put Evo 1 cam from Mini Stairs, duplex adjustable timing gears, stock head, and stock pulley and a supercharger. And I went right to the dyno in the springtime, and then made 93 brake horsepower.
Wow. Just like that. Did you rebuild the whole engine or you just kind of the internals, everything was pretty good so you just swapped out the cam and everything else?
Yeah, the internals, it still had like cross hatching on the cylinder wall, so I didn't touch anything
Oh wow.
yet.
Super
That
nice. That's
came
that's
last
that's
summer.
the that's the dream, I guess, when you go to do that kind of stuff, you're like, "Oh, I don't have to touch it."
Yeah, my job got a lot easier.
How long so you got it in 18, so this was about 2020 that you did this or started?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I got the supercharger. I was looking at my emails this morning, March 20th. That's when it arrived at my door, and I already had the motor out
Right
and
before
had the front
COVID,
end cut
so
off
you
it.
didn't have to you had all your parts before then?
Yep.
Okay, so
And then
you pulled the motor, you ordered it, you got the work.
yeah, and then we did the body. We did everything. Well, I say we, except for the paint and the bodywork. That's not me, but it still happened in this garage.
Oh, really?
Everything was done here,
That's awesome.
and yeah, it was quite the project because, like I said, as soon as I pulled the engine, I cut the whole front end off the car just because it was rotten. I had a fiberglass front end come down from Toronto. I think it's Toronto.
Hmm.
And started rebuilding.
How's that process of doing a fiberglass like flip front? I know a couple people that have them, but they didn't install them. If I remember correctly, I'm just curious. Like s- is there another support that attaches to the front of the subframe? Is there like a bracketry that goes to the firewall, or is it just
Yep,
enough support
there's.
for the bulkhead bolts there for the subframe?
I have a bar that goes from the front of the subframe, and I drilled holes and bolted it through my inner fender up near the the bolts for the cones.
Okay,
So
so there is
it's
like
all bolted up. Like, oh yeah,
so there's
you
like a
don't have
brace
to.
that.
I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say because I feel like I've seen people that don't have something like that, and I mean it doesn't seem unstable, but it's it's interesting. Okay, I think I'm trying to
Hmm.
look at a picture. I do see one that's coming from the front of the subframe and like behind like the radiator into the
Yeah,
firewall there.
I'll snap a
Uh,
picture after and send it to you.
yeah, that's cool. Interesting. So your whole front end's fiberglass, pulls off, easy access.
Fiberglass, the front bumpers, carbon fiber, the air dams, carbon fiber. There's some more carbon fiber going on
What's
soon.
this? Is there a specific kit that you did, or is this like sport pack arches with some or excuse me, rocker panels or whatever you want to call that lip? Is it, or is it a specific kit?
No, it's just stuff I pieced together. Like uh, the side skirts came from Ontario. They were, I don't even know what kit they were, but they're going to be taken off. I think next week he wants them, and I'm shipping them to Arizona, and they're going to be carbon
Oh,
fiber.
nice.
Rogue Seven, Jim
I was gonna
over
say
at
Rogue
Rogue
Seven or
Seven.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he does
So
all my
for
carbon fiber.
yeah, he does some good stuff, man. He did what he do the bootleg and stuff too.
Bootleg. I had a big wing spoiler, which I think it might come back. I sold that one, but I think we might do something else.
Yeah, that fits your mini. For those that don't know, I don't even think we said it yet. This is Roy, obviously, but his Instagram with his car is penny_customs with a K. So go check it out. But Roy, for those that don't know and haven't seen this bad boy, explain a little bit. What does your car look like, other than the supercharger mods? Obviously, can go into more mods, but what does it look like? What kind of customization does it have? And kind of give some of these people some input on here.
It's a '87 Mini with, like we said, a supercharger on it, and I can go. I got, I think, 4 pulleys now. We can go from 10 psi, I think, right up to about 22. I haven't tried the 22 yet because Stuart just sent me it, and I had a bit of an issue last year with my clutch I bought from a big company, and it not fitting and turned on my crank and ruined my crankshaft. But the only thing I haven't touched on this car so far is the gas tank. Everything's been changed, just bolted in a full cage. I don't even know if you can see it. I can't see it, but yeah. She's,
Window's too dark.
yeah, I might change that. I just got a new set of windows. I got to change that dreaded clip on the front where it bolts screws to the car or whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was you that had to do that with your car, or the other guy I listened to that used
No.
to have a mini podcast. Dreaded job. It's a little stainless steel.
Oh, right.
Also,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that what I do remember that podcast. Yeah, no, my are you talking about the pop out windows?
yeah.
Yeah, my one of my sides is barely hanging on, so I never open them, but yeah, I'm
This
dreading
one's
that
like
job for
that.
sure. Yeah,
But yeah, it's
this mini's, what color is it? Still the
it.
Subaru blue, or did you change that color?
No, it's BMW Avis Blue, I think it's called.
Oh, Avis blue. It's
And
nice.
yeah, it's very nice. It might go. We're not sure. It might go Lotus Blue this year.
Oh, dang. Always
Just 'cause
changing something, tinkering, huh?
uh, I can't leave nothing alone. I'm terrible for it. My wife, I was surprised, hasn't killed me yet.
But that's the fun part about minis, is that there is so many options. I mean, a lot of cars nowadays have a ton of options, but I feel like the mini has always notoriously had just, you could, excuse me, like, listen, we've had people that have race cars, we have the supercharger car, we have that vintage classic look. There's so many things that you can do to these cars. It's insane. But yours is this, nice blue color. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on today. What, you got 13-inch wheels? You have different options of those, or are they 12s?
Just 12s. Just
12s.
12s.
Yeah, a little more meat look on it. Looks good. Um, like you said, some of the big wing, the body kit. It's
Yep.
definitely a unique look.
Yeah, it's my dream car, so I'm just like, it's a big financial mistake to begin with. So it's got the carbon fiber boot lid. I don't know if you can see that there,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know
but
nowadays, and man, mini prices, car prices in general are going up. So maybe you're still
yeah,
net positive. Who knows?
I don't think so.
Hopefully the wife doesn't hear
Definitely
that.
not positive. Oh, she knows.
Oh, oh, that's funny. That's funny. No, but listen, it's your dream car. You don't have any plans to sell it anyway, so just enjoy it. Who cares?
Yeah, and I do. Like, I wasn't real. I almost sold it last year, I'll be honest, just because the problems I had. And, like, I only put last year, I think it was, until I rebuilt the full motor, it was, I think I only put on, like, 100, maybe 110 kilometers.
Mm.
And then my crankshaft decided to go south. So, yeah.
Eek. Eek. Yeah, so Penny Customs, you do all your work. Is this your, like, job, career? What is this? Building bikes and cars and stuff like that? Is this a side hobby? Because I know that you
Side
do. You
hobby.
said you did most of all the work yourself. You build
Yep.
minus the body work.
Yeah, I don't ever. I help if they tell me to like sand here. Just that's what I'll do. But I don't. I'm not very good at it.
It's kind of
And
boring.
I
It's like kind of easy, but really boring.
yeah, and like yeah, we do we do everything. Like I had a big stint there for a while. I was souping up golf carts. Everyone was putting me golf carts and putting like 5-inch lifts on them for their campgrounds, wrapping them,
Yeah,
and yeah, it was putting stereos in them, neon lights underneath them.
yeah.
That was like
That's pretty.
that was like
Yeah,
2 years of golf
that was a
carts.
big boom. That's fun.
So
Did
yeah, I do.
you got this kind of from your dad? He's the mechanic, and you kind of picked it up from him, or what?
Yeah, like my brother's a mechanic too. He does it full time. My dad, he's retired now, but he did it full time. I actually work at like a pet food distribution warehouse. That's my full time. Like I'm too scared to leave my job and go do this full time. So,
Yeah, yeah. I feel you. I understand.
mm, so I just
I
do
want.
it part time, weekends and stuff. So.
That's fun. I want. Yeah. That's. I think honestly, that's probably the way to go, unless you have some big business model, because then you lose the time to work on your own car. Kind of like
Hmm.
you're so tired of working on other people's cars. At least I've heard that happen
And I
often.
and I want it to be fun, right? I don't want to be like, oh crap, I gotta go to the garage and work on something. I'm like, when I get my time to go to the garage there, it's fun. Like, it might not sound like I'm having fun, but I am having fun.
Lots of cuss words coming out.
Oh yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
like a
I want to
sailor.
jump back to you were talking about the pulleys. So the way to change the boost and stuff like that is changing the pulley size. I remember my 2002 Mini S had the supercharger, right? And I put a smaller pulley on it to get it going a little bit more, but I just did it because that's what the forums did. What is what's that was young high school me.
Yeah, well that's still me now. So, but yeah, I'll just change the crank pulleys
Uh
is
huh.
the easiest way because these ones are I don't know if on the minis they're the newer minis are pressed on or whatnot. But these are, I believe they're pressed on, so I just have different crank pulleys that I change, and I've got, I think, 3 or 4, and the last
Right.
one he sent me is pretty big, so I got to cut out
Mm.
my bottom rad bracket.
To
I
fit
had to
it.
trim it for the last, yeah, I had to trim for the last one, but I got to trim it some more for this one, so.
Oh man. Yeah, now that you say that, I think there was like two options. Is you could change the supercharger pulley size down or the crank size pulley up. And I think the easier option was the supercharger pulley. But
Mm.
correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that supercharger that he uses is from that Mini. They're like the same kind, maybe, or I just
I
I don't
actually
know.
believe it's off of a Mercedes Benz, something they
Oh.
have over in England or whatnot. And
Mm.
because I thought it was off, it's an Eaton M45 charger on it, but I actually think it was. At first, I thought it was off a Mini, but later on, I found out it's off some Benz that they have over there, little Mercedes Benz.
Maybe it was like the early ones, or it was just a rumor floating around. But yeah, interesting, cool. I
Yeah, they
want to
have
jump
a
in.
shorter nose on them, like
Oh,
the front
gotcha.
nose part.
I was trying to remember what the one I had even looked like, but who knows? Like I said, I'm not too big into those, so I don't really know.
It's all learning, right? Just
Exactly.
like
We learn
everything.
as we go, right?
Yep.
I want to jump into, we kind of were talking about your mini style, what it looks like. It's not your typical purist Mini with 10-inch wheels, the chrome trim, vintage color, etc., etc. You're starting to see more of these, I think, nowadays, kind of pop up with, like we said, there's a million options. In, the area that you're at, are there a lot of like mini meets and things that you bring it to, and what are the people's reaction when they see there's a supercharger, you're on, big wing or carbon bits and stuff like that? Because it's not, at least when I go to meets, that's not common at all. But
Mm.
I see them out there a lot. Obviously, minis aren't as common here as they are in other spots. But yeah, what are people's reactions to that?
It's the smile when, because at a show I always have the hood open. It's the
Right.
smile as soon as they see the supercharger, they get this grin on their face. They're like, "Oh damn!"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the look on their face. I love it. I can see when they first notice it and stuff like that. So it's really neat to see people's reaction, and then they're like, "Oh, I used to have a mini." I'm like, "You may have had a mini, but it was nothing like this."
Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't have this kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, when I go to shows too, it's if I peek into someone's hood, I'm like, oh shit, like he's got this, and this. Yeah, it's like you don't
Mm.
expect it, and if you see something like that, you're like, oh dang. Common here is when someone pulls up and they pop their bonnet, or especially if you had like a flip front, that's like even more unique. But you'll see the Honda swabs or something completely different, and everyone's like, whoa, what is this? And the everyday person that doesn't know minis, they're like, what the hell? Like they go bonkers over that kind of stuff.
Mm. It is like, if this one blows up again, I'm probably going to go to a Honda swap. But yeah, I hope it doesn't blow up again because I like the A series. Like I'm used to it now, right? So
Right.
hopefully it don't blow up again.
Knock on wood, man.
Yeah,
No, I
got no
think
one to
that's a
blame for myself though.
yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I feel like, again, I've never driven a Honda, but I feel like the A series with a turbo or a supercharger, it's like a great happy medium, without a ton of work. I don't know. I feel like it's a
Hmm.
lot more work to swap in a Honda than bolt a supercharger or a turbo on. I know, like the kit that you have is, fairly simple compared to a
Oh,
Honda
it is.
swap, right?
Oh, for sure. Like in afternoon, you could be running. You could go from not having a supercharger to having a supercharger. So
Right. Yeah, and
and
I
it's
know there's
instant
some
power.
turbo kits coming out now, just full bolt on, just you bolt it up to the manifold, bingo banga, you're off running with a turbo. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah. Like you
so
don't even change your exhaust with the supercharger, right? It's just straightforward.
yeah, it's super straightforward. So I feel like it's a great happy medium. Obviously, you spend a little bit of money to do it, but it's again, I've never done the Honda, but I feel like it's kind of a pain in the ass for. I don't know. Man, knock on wood, I've had pretty good luck with my A series, like in terms of reliability driving. I've never been stranded with it. Obviously, there's things that break, but it never left me stranded. So everyone's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, the Hondas, fast power for reliability," but it's like, is it going to be that reliable when you gotta change so many different things? But I guess that's what some of these big time pros that I'm hoping to get on talk about their Honda swaps and what goes into it. Understand it a little bit more.
I'll stay A series like as long as I can. Like if I blow this one up, and I hope maybe I'll be able to find another one quite easy. Or if I can rebuild this one, I'll rebuild it again, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, it's easy
but
money.
down, I've I've reduced the amount of horsepower just for like the street because I don't want to blow it up again. And I was like getting to the limit of parts there. Like stuff was breaking, and it creates so much more heat when you start like last year. I was pretty close, if not just above 150 brake horse to this thing. So
Wow.
and it's crazy on the street. Like it's just stupid. And
All those
now,
burnout videos on your Instagram, everyone go check those out.
yeah, I'm gonna roast those tires off the front there. I think in the spring there, I got to get two more. They're pretty much worn, but we're gonna burn those ones off pretty good. I'll make sure there's a video for sure.
That's funny. When we first started talking, we were talking about your car. I was kind of looking at it, and you were sending me a picture or the video of you roasting your tires all the way down the street. It's so funny. I can't even
Yeah,
imagine because it's like, what? How does that even happen in a Mini? It's hilarious.
yeah, and like I'll be honest, I beat the car when I take it out because I built it to drive it, and I built it to take my punishment. It's got
Oh
the
yeah.
best of everything I could put on it, so I'm going to use it.
Listen. That's how cars should be, in my opinion. That's how I do. I don't know if I built it to last, but I built it, and I'm going to drive it. I'm going to have fun with it. Like I thrashed the shit out of it. It is what it is. It's
Yeah.
gonna, if it breaks, it breaks. If it doesn't, then cool. I mean, shit, it lasted this long, and I I built my engine. I rebuilt my engine in hopes to go to this rally up to Idaho, around Idaho, and it there were some delays. Shit didn't go as planned, so it was like literally the night before I was like still messing with shit. Got it just good enough, and then 5 a.m. the next morning I took off for Idaho. I'm like, screw it, we're sending it. It's like that's what it's
That's
for,
awesome.
man. I drove.
And you
I
drove
kept
it or trailered it?
Oh, I drove it. I kept it in. It was still in its break-in period, so I kept it slow. I didn't accelerate hard. I kind of just cruised it, and I stopped halfway through, did my oil change, got to the and just kept up with it. It was the only thing I didn't think about before I left was I was going to altitude, so I didn't bring any like needles to change in the carb, so it was kind of sluggish up top. But it was an experience, man. Nothing broke
That's
except
awesome.
for. Well, nothing major, I guess. I guess I did break my gearbox, but I don't think that was had nothing to do with the engine rebuild. But
No. Yeah, that's awesome.
that's a whole nother story. Anyways, yeah. So what's the mini community like over there? Because you're kind of in a not by all the other like I'm drawing a blank. Steveston Motor Co. They're like more
They're on
southwest
the other
type.
side of Canada, yeah.
They're on the other side, right?
Yeah, like we got, I follow, like, I'm part of a group there, mainly in East Montreal. They're like
Montreal. Yeah.
a great bunch of people there that run it, and they do, we do like group buys and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah.
it's like a container full of parts from like mini spares or wherever else, and like people ship like full floor pans, everything in this. And
That's
like
awesome.
windshields and stuff like that.
I remember
The shipment
group
would be
buys. We need
crazy.
to start doing that now.
Great idea.
It is.
And like
I don't know why we never think of that.
there's a few like in Ontario. There's a few Ontario mini group or whatnot I follow. I think there's probably, from what I found so far, is probably like 4 or 5 minis down in the maritime provinces. So that's like New Brunswick, PEI, Nova Scotia, and just around here.
How far is like Montreal and Ontario from you?
About 10-hour drive.
10?
Mm-hmm.
So, so you're just kind of rolling with them. Are there a lot of actual minis in your specific area?
No, there's like
Dang.
we went was it last year? I think it was last year. Me and the wife went to a health food store. It's like a building. They do like yoga upstairs, and
Uh
it's a
huh.
health
Uh
food
huh.
store. We pull in, and there's a mini there. Never seen it. It has New Brunswick plates on it. So I sat there for like half an hour, and I waited. And the wife was like, "We should wait till they come out." I'm like, "Well, we've been waiting here for like half an hour. I'm pretty sure they're like doing yoga or something, and they probably don't want to be approached by this creepy guy with a mini there." So I'm not sure if I left the business card on their windshield or not. I probably didn't because they never got back to me. But
Right.
I remember we were driving one time. It was me, the wife, and her mother, and I seen a Mini and a bunch of people outside of a cottage, and I pulled right into it and into the parking lot. I'm like, "Who owns the Mini?" And it was some lady's like, "I do." I'm like, "Oh, if you ever need parts or you ever want to like go to a car show together," I'm like, "Here's my card."
And she was like, "Creeper."
Yeah, her husband actually after that got a hold of me and wanted some wheel nuts or something like that, and I had like I don't know if you see like I got parts all there, and I got an enclosed trailer that's on the other side of that garage door that's filled with parts there. Like,
Right.
there's many parts everywhere here, so I'm like, yeah, I got
That's
those. Don't worry, you need anything else?
that's funny. Yeah, that's like my direct area. Obviously, LA is, within an hour driving distance, but my direct area, I never see any minis either. And it's like if anytime
Oh,
I ever,
really?
yeah. But yeah, I'm in Ventura County, which is the county over from Los Angeles. And there's just, every once in a while I'll see one at a meet. I've seen maybe, the same guy at one meet before, but other than that, it's just me bombing around here. I'm sure there's some hiding
Oh,
away somewhere, but tell me how you got featured in Mini World magazine. Mini World, right? Yeah, Mini World magazine. How'd that happen?
yeah. I actually emailed her and said, "Hey, do you do feature cars from Canada?" I think it started out as, and me and Karen just she's the editor. We just started talking and then talking some more, and all of a sudden, she's like, "Send me a few pictures of your car." I sent them, and she was just like, "Oh, well, do you have any friends that are handy with a camera?" I'm like,
Right.
"Yes, I do." I got some real good guys with a camera, and next thing you know, she's asking me to write some like 1,500 word thing about my car, and that's where my wife came in because I'm not good with the words. So
That's
and
awesome.
then yeah, and then the first car show it went in after that was an enclosed. It's called Radical Speed Sport here, and I sent her a picture of, and I named my car Carl's for some reason. I don't know why, but it's Carl. And I said Carl had made its first car show and won best engine bay in my class or whatnot, and she put it in again.
Whoa, so you were in twice?
And twice, not a feature the second time, but just in, and I've been in, that's been in Mini Magazine, the the other one, and it was supposed to be featured last year in Mini Magazine, but I had my engine problems, so I think we're going to do it this year.
What do you know? I'll have to go through all my. I have them all like stacked up over there, but I have a ton of. I get Mini Magazine, not Mini World. Probably have seen it in there. I gotta go through them all and try to find it. Post it up on the
Yeah,
Instagram.
it was just one picture of I think it was your minis, and we were in talks. He's like, well, just send me a picture of it, and I'll put it in just your minis, and then we'll do a feature after. And
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
all
cool.
right.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
reached out
snowing
to
and
Mini
shit, so
Magazine to, just kind of tell them, just, shoot the shit. And not that I was like super adamant on it or anything, but just kind of like you, and start talking with the editor. And like, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, if you have somebody that can take pictures and, we can write a story. Because I was telling them about the Idaho thing, and I had a bunch of cool pictures from, all the states I'd driven to. And, just cool, kind of fun story to share. And but
mhm.
yeah, my engine came out, so I haven't haven't done it. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool. It'd be just a cool like memento to have that. One, those pictures are fantastic, and two, just have a cool little magazine with all your little write up in it. It's super fun.
yeah, it is, and like not many people can say their car's like been in a magazine or whatnot, and it's pretty
Yeah,
neat.
super cool. No, I like it a lot. It's awesome. I
And
want
like
to
I'm
jump in
pretty
a little
proud of my
bit.
mini, so
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Mine doesn't look anything like yours, but it would just be cool to have it in there, and I'm proud of it.
mm,
Like you said, you've done the work. I did the work. It's just, it's your dream car. I get it.
yeah. Yep.
Tell me a little bit about the is it what is it, MG sitting behind you? MG, some motorcycles. Tell me a little bit about your other projects.
Oh, so this is a 71 MG. Picked it up last year. It was a complete mess, and I'm building it for the wife. Should be ready to go this spring, hopefully.
Nice. Cruise together.
Yeah, or I'll let her drive and I'll just sit in the passenger seat.
There you go. There you go. And
Uh,
that's what I want to get. I don't know. Maybe when I get my other mini driving, his and hers, I'll have my wife drive one, and I drive the other one. But yeah,
nice.
we need some more space first.
But I need more space too. So,
Yeah. What kind of motorcycles you have?
I have 89 Harley Softail with 20-inch ape hangers on it. I have
Oof.
a 1978 CB 750 uh, K, I think it was a K, and the wife has a VT 250 F, I think it is, and that's a 19. What's that one? That's an 80 Jawa. It's called, and I don't know if you can see that yellow
Mm,
bike.
now it's cut off.
There's a yellow bike up there. That's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
a Velo Solex from France. That the engine just sits on the front wheel there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I just had it all powder coated, and it's been sitting in a box for about 5 years. And the ADHD in me decided to start working on it one night, and now it's sitting there instead of in a box. So,
That's awesome. Fun, man. So you
and
got a lot
that's
of things on your hand.
that's just one of those little mini choppers. We had a few wobbly pops and decided to hang it from the ceiling.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's like got the stretch front end on it.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
it's got like a 50 cc engine in it or something like that. So,
Yeah, a little fun little bomb around. That's why I've always been
yep.
into motorcycles, chopper bobber style. So that's when I got that. I'll send you some pictures after this. I bought that Honda 250 Rebel on Craigslist well, I didn't buy it. I got it for free, and it was just bolts, nuts and bolts, and put together a cool little chopper bobber looking lane splitter looking thing.
Hmm.
And that's what I traded for my first mini. But I've
Nice.
been
I
missing it
remember
ever
hearing the
since.
story. Oh, you missed it?
Well, I missed riding bikes. It was fun. I always liked. Obviously I wouldn't go back and make that reverse trade because I want my minis more,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously. But
yeah.
there's I just want Harley or whatever, just something fun, little street bob or something to cruise down PCH and go to Neptune's Net. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's a
No.
really popular bike car spot here on right on the water on the coastal highway. And
Oh,
if you guys have seen Fast and the Furious, the first one where they're racing the Supra versus the Ferrari, and it was
yeah.
like that like scene. That's the restaurant that they pulled into at the end when
Oh,
they
really?
smoked them. Yeah, Neptune's Net. Yeah, so that's like, man, 20 minutes down the road for me. So
Oh,
it'd be
really?
fun.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they
awesome.
always have tons of bikes there, and not that I fit in with any of those guys, I guess, but I just want to cruise. I don't know, they're serious
Yeah.
bikers. But yeah, no, there's so many cool like canyons just to cruise, and But I guess that's a whole nother rabbit hole, like just like the minis. So one
Yeah.
day I'll get
It
another
is.
one. One day. Roy, you ready to jump into the Paddy probe?
Yep.
All right. For those that are listening, first time maybe, the Paddy probe is a set of questions. It could be rapid fire. We typically elaborate because we're blabbermouths, but you know what? First one. What is your favorite mini variant?
Any of them. I was thinking of that question, and man, I just like I can't tell you the difference from a 1960 to a 2000. Like I know there's some differences, like the rear window, the tail lights and stuff, but
Right.
just any mini man, I love them all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true, man. It doesn't matter. I think I talked about it last episode. It was if you're driving it and enjoying it, all minis are fun. Yeah, that
Yep.
episode actually hasn't come out yet, so no one's heard that. But yeah, yeah, no.
Nice.
Um, let's see here. Um, A series, Honda swap or other.
Hey, series.
A series. What is your favorite mini modification? Either one that you have done currently or you plan to do in the future, or both.
My favorite would have to be the supercharger. It's just instant horsepower, and it turns your little car into a rocket. Which,
Kind of scary. Kind of scary to think
yeah,
about. 10-inch, 12-inch, or 13-inch.
I, I've never driven a. Well, I guess that first car I drove was 10-inch wheels, but I actually was trying to go to a 10-inch wheel this year, but I've got to change like all my brakes and like it's going to be like a $2,000, $3,000. By the time I get the wheels I want, because I
Yeah,
want like the specialty component ones there,
yeah, yeah.
those are nice, but I have to go with 12 just because that's what I have.
I think the 12 is a great option, especially for someone like you that wants a little more tire. I think it still looks pretty good. It doesn't look at sometimes the 13s, it depends what wheel is on there and what arch. Sometimes they look a little big and funky, but the 12s
Hmm.
always kind of seem like they have a good happy medium. But I'd be interested to see your car on 10s. I think it would look mean with a like
Yeah,
fat tire on there.
like that's on jack stands right now. That's why it's got that crazy wheel gap right now. It looks like you throw a baby in between the fender and the top of the tire.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of like wheel spin, who knows? I don't know if the tires you could get would. Well, I guess you could get 10-inch slicks, like kind of like
Hmm.
happy medium, like Hoosiers or Dunlops or whatever. But the brakes now you can get the 4-pot 10-inch brakes or 7.5 brakes, so you got some braking power there. So I'd
Yeah,
love to
yeah,
see it.
it's not the braking I'm worried about. So I'll start a GoFundMe if everyone wants wants
There
to
we
give
go.
me some.
Hey, support
Yeah,
this
but
man.
yeah, it'll be in the future. I definitely want to go to tens, but I
Yeah.
don't think it'll be this year.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those specialty components recently for some reason popping up on for sale and could be a good option. But what's your favorite mini wheel model right now?
Uh, so I like. I just found out recently because I was looking for a set the mini, just the mini lights that,
Yeah.
but the all chrome ones.
Okay.
I like some bling for some reason. I like chrome, and I really like those wheels, but apparently they're only 13 inch, and I don't want to
15.
go 13 inch. 13.
Dang. Huh.
But
Interesting.
I
I
could
bet.
be wrong. But from what I found, I can't find them. I want them like chrome. I don't want them polished. I want them chrome in
I
a
feel like
12.
I've seen them, and maybe they were polished. I feel like I've seen them in smaller sizes, but maybe people had them chromed. I
Oh,
don't know.
maybe.
Maybe. What's the most pain in the ass job that you've done on your mini?
Uh, I think either. I'm pretty sure it's the lower control arm bolts. I don't know if I got a bad batch, but like I had two of them strip on me,
Really?
and they were brand new, and I was like, I was dirty because they were pain. I put 1.5 camber lower control arms on mine,
Uh huh.
and I hated that.
Dang, I don't
Or
remember that
wiring.
one
I
being
don't like
rough.
wiring either.
Yeah, wiring
Maybe it's just
sucks for
rough for
sure.
me. Yeah, wiring sucks.
Yeah, it's my car had some sketchy wiring in it, so it was. I probably made it sketchier, but it works now, so
Yep. No, no, that
whatever.
long as it works.
Yeah. If you could have a drink, coffee, beer, tea, whatever your drink of choice is, with one mini celeb or Insta famous, whatever you want to go with, who
Mm-hmm.
would it be?
Maybe Stuart
There you go.
that built the superchargers. I plan on
Yeah.
it. We're supposed to go this year to the UK, but I think it might end up being next year, and I'm going to track him down. So
No, that would be awesome. Yeah,
I'll
I
hold
know.
him
I think of a
hostage.
lot of historic figures that would be cool, but there's a lot of people nowadays that are in the in the game still. Like Stewart's one of them. Yeah, that'd be awesome because just to hear their stories and
And he
experiences and stuff
started
like that.
off turbo in cars.
Yeah, they just the wealth of knowledge in any of these people that everyone's mentioned so far in these episodes is they're all good picks for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Roy, tell the people where they can find you. I know Penny underscore customs with a K. Anything else that you want the people to know?
No, that's pretty much it, man. I'll, I'll hopefully this year post a lot more funner videos of that little blue car smoking the tires off it.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
I
you
just
need to
got a
up your.
GoPro, so
There you
I
go.
just
Yeah,
got a
you need to
GoPro,
up
so
your
I'm gonna be.
Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not on it a lot. Well, I'm on it a lot, but I don't have a lot of followers or anything like that. So
Yeah, you start posting some more video. Get the GoPro going, videos and pictures and stuff like. It's a cool car, and I know you drive. Well, I guess it's winter right now, but when you get it back out
yeah,
and driving, post some updates on that thing. You guys go check it out. It's an awesome build. Definitely one that needs to be seen.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, Roy. Thank you so much for being on, and everybody, catch you on the next one.